Hey everyone, Brandon from Brandon's Baseball Cards here. Today I listened to the Golden Age of Cardboard podcast on the Bench Clear Media channel. And there was a fantastic discussion that Mike, baseball collector, had with Ray from Philly about the importance of projects and the role that projects play in this hobby, in the collecting of sports cards. And while I was listening to this podcast, it really got me thinking about how what I focus the majority of my collecting energy on, which is the collecting of unopened packs, and in particular the collecting of rack packs. How is that different than other areas of the hobby? And this is something I've thought a lot about in the past few years as I've really gotten into the unopened collecting world a lot more extensively. And it is different. And in particular, I think collecting rack packs is very, very different than a lot of other areas of the hobby. There are similarities, right? But there's a lot of differences, and I just wanted to discuss some of them and try to maybe get a discussion going about this a little bit and have some dialogue between the channels, which I think is a thing that we don't do enough necessarily. The first point that I think does distinguish rack pack collecting from other types of collecting is that there's no rack pack registry. Right. There used to be a rack pack grading company. GAI used to grade rack packs. They're no longer a grading company. There was no registry of rack packs that they had graded. When you send a rack pack to Baseball Card Exchange, it comes back in the Baseball Card Exchange wrap as being authentic, but there's no grade assigned to it. Right. And so we don't know the extent of what's out there the way that you do if you collect PSA graded cards, right? Or even if you collect PSA graded packs, right? There's a PSA graded pop report for packs. You can go on and see how many PSA 9 1975 Topps baseball wax packs have been graded, right? Or cello packs. Rack packs aren't graded by PSA, right? So there is no registry. So we really don't know the extent of what's out there, which means that there are a lot of surprises when it comes to collecting unopened material. There's packs that you'll come across sometimes. Sometimes they're too good to be true, but a lot of times they're not too good to be true, right? Some of the packs I've shown on this channel, my 1983 Topps that has two Johnny Benches, the same card on front, right, in different cells, right? Packs like that shouldn't exist, right? They shouldn't exist, but they do, right? And they're real, right? And is that the only pack of its kind? Is that the only 1983 Topps double Johnny Bench Super Vets rack pack in existence? I'd like to think so. Does that mean that for sure? No, right? No. So there's the lack of a pop report and the lack of a registry is a major difference in what I focus my collecting on and what others focus their collecting on than if you focus on graded cards or certified autographs or what have you. And ultimately, there just like anything, there are similarities as well. And I think one of the similarities would be that you can focus, just like if you collect raw cards, right, or if you collect graded cards, whatever, you can focus on a specific player, a specific team, a specific era, right? Or you can kind of go, maybe the set builder approach, right, where you just try to collect as much of a given year and manufacturer as possible, right? So, for instance, one of the rarest rack packs of the 80s that I've tried to focus on, really probably in the past 6 to 7 months, just fairly recently, but 1983 Donruss rack packs, right? Cello rack packs, not wax rack packs. Very, very hard to find, especially with Hall of Famers showing, right? Which is how I've decided to make it more challenging. Only either Hall of Famers or key rookies on top for 83 Donruss racks for my personal collection. That's kind of like being a set builder, I guess, if you will, but in rack pack form. Right, to just say, okay, I want as many different Hall of Famer variations with Hall of Famers on top for this year and manufacturer of rack pack as possible. Right, that's one way to do it. Right, so there are some similarities. You could focus just on a specific team, which I don't really do. Right, I look for unusual packs that I think are rare, weird combinations, like I've already talked about, where it's the same card showing in multiple cells, so when there's collation irregularities, things like that. That's more of what I try to do, right? But there's so many different ways to enjoy this hobby, right? But rack pack collecting is different. It's not just different than grading, than cards, people that collect slabs, people that collect autographs. It's also different than people that collect cello packs or wax packs. And it's this lack of a registry, right? That's really what I think separates rack pack collecting. The best way to find out if you have a possible one-of-one pack is to send Steve Hart an email and ask him, have you seen one of these before? Because he's seen everything. And for instance, when I got my 1983 Topps rack pack that has Ripken on front in one cell and Ripken, the same card, on the back in another cell, which is weird, right? That's an example of a collation irregularity. I sent Steve Hart an email and said, is this the first one you've seen? And he said, I can't say for sure, but probably, right? Which is the best we can do with rack pack collecting. So I probably have a one-of-one, right? But it's hard. It's hard to, there's so much out there, and there's no, you never know what you're going to find, which also makes it incredibly fun. And I really, really enjoy this area of the hobby that I've decided to focus on. And I cannot wait for the National, and I cannot wait to meet some of you at the National. And I also will, before the National, hopefully, I think I'm at 499 subscribers right now, I will be doing a 500 subscriber contest. So please be on the lookout for that. Great podcast, Mike, if you're watching this. Ray, if you're watching this, fantastic podcast. Really enjoyed it. Loved it. Keep up the good work. Keep collecting vintage baseball.